We hope you enjoyed that little music break. Now, getting straight back into it here on the Steam Room, we're proud and excited to welcome back Bruce Little from Minerva, who's here to talk to us about the psychological side of things.
Why do you think some men choose to have secret sex at night?
I think there's a variety of numbers. Men who have secret sex are as varied as you get any type of man. So there's a million reasons why we do the things that we do. So it's very difficult for me to be able to say this is exactly why they do it. Some men have secret sex with other men because it's exciting, because it's a taboo. And sometimes when something is a taboo or it's secret, it adds to the sexual tension and it adds to the excitement around the act. It makes it even more exciting. And for other men, it's literally a case of I don't want my family or community to know that I'm having sex with other men because they will judge me or they will see me as being less than what I am or less than how they currently perceive me. So there's a myriad of reasons as to why somebody would choose to be an after nine.
And what would you say are some of the biggest issues these men have to face?
I think one of the big issues I would assume for somebody living in the shadows or somebody living in a secretive lifestyle is that I think there must be quite a lot of isolation and loneliness. If you're living a lie or a secret, then a part of you feels like anyone who's been in the closet, so these men are essentially in the closet for most of the people in their lives. And it's the usual pain that one would associate with living in the closet. Everyone you know doesn't really know you. And so what happens is that you can't help but wonder, do these people really love me? Do these people really, does my wife really love me? Do my parents really love and understand me? Because they don't know who I am. I'm hiding this major part of myself, and my sexuality is a very big part of myself. And I think it's also the fear of being discovered. I think it must be really frightening to be an after nine who is engaging in sexual acts with other men, behind the backs of their friends, family, and community. And then the possibility of being exposed and all the things that come with being exposed, now being exposed to discrimination, maybe being disowned by their families or having, the threat of maybe being left by their spouses. There's just so many things that could go wrong. And that's the case with any kind of clandestine lifestyle where you're keeping things from the people you're closest to.
And do you have any advice for after niners who are dealing with feelings of guilt or shame?
I would say my advice for any person who identifies as an after niner, just, educate yourselves. And you can educate yourself on the down low as well. So you can go online using your smartphone or, an internet cafe where somebody can't see what you're looking at. And just go onto different websites like wethebrave.co.za or healthformen.co.za and find out how you can have sex with other men in a safer way. There's just so many things that people assume they know about HIV and STIs. And unfortunately, the thing is, people assume that you'll be able to see with the naked eye that somebody else has an STI. But many, many people have syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and a number of other STIs, but they're asymptomatic, which means you can't see the symptoms. So you can't see that this person has these STIs and they can easily give it to you. So I would say just educate yourself, and because, knowledge is power. And also the more you know about who you are and what's at risk for yourself, then the less chance there will be of being in danger, and hopefully then less chance of feeling ashamed or feeling insecure about who and what you are.
And do you have any advice for after niners who are afraid of coming out?
I think it's the same advice that I would give to anybody about coming out. So whether or not you're an after niner or you're anyone who's living in the closet, there are pros and cons. The cons are that there is a very real risk for a number of people to be disowned or to get a backlash from the family or those people closest to you who are ignorant about homosexuality or bisexuality, and people who are discriminatory about it because of religious or cultural beliefs. So you need to know that there is a possibility that you will be discriminated against you, and make sure that you are safe, that you are in a situation where when you disclose this information about yourself, that you're not in a situation where you can be assaulted or you can be attacked, because unfortunately we live in a country where in many communities, if you do come out as LGBTQIA+, you are at risk of violence, because that's how it manifests in many communities throughout the continent of Africa. So be safe, make sure that when you divulge this information to another person, that you can trust that person and that you are in an environment where you can take care of your own well-being.
And then what would you say to wives or girlfriends listening who have after niners as their significant others?
It's a tough situation. Any part anyone who's involved in a relationship who suspects that their partner is engaging in sexual acts with other people has a responsibility to themselves and their partner to take care of themselves and the situation. So if you suspect your partner is having sex with anybody else, whether that person is, having sex with other men or other women, doesn't matter. You need to protect yourself. Number one, you can try and insist on the use of condoms every time you and your husband or your boyfriend engage in sexual acts. I know that that's difficult because, there's the stigma or this belief, preconceived notion that if you're married to somebody or you've been in a long-term relationship with them, that you should be able to have unprotected sex. That is not the case. You can insist that your partner uses protection, or alternatively, you can go to the clinic and explain to the healthcare provider that you would like to go onto pre-exposure prophylaxis, otherwise known as PrEP. So if you test HIV negative and you suspect that your partner may be engaging in sexual acts that could bring a threat of STIs into your lovemaking, then you as an HIV negative person can go and test yourself, first of all, to know what your status is. It's always good to know what your status is in terms of all the STIs. And if you test negative, then the way you can stay HIV negative is to go onto PrEP. And PrEP takes 7 days to activate fully. And then even if your partner does become infected with HIV themselves, they will not be able to pass it on to you.
Do you think that an after niner can live a well-rounded and stable life?
I think it's up to the individual whether or not they can live a well-rounded and established life. I think it depends on the relationship that the after niner has with their spouse. I think if you're in a relationship where your wife or partner knows that you are engaging in sexual acts with other people and everything is transparent and everything, relationships are based on trust. If there is no trust, then I begin to think that the relationship is in trouble. But if you're playing open cards with your partner and if you're engaging in sexual acts while using protection and all the involved parties are taking all the necessary preventative precautions. So if you're HIV negative, everybody involved is taking PrEP. If you're HIV positive, then everybody involved is on ARVs, and you've been on ARVs religiously so that you are undetectable, which means the HIV is so low in your bloodstream that you can't pass it on to another person. Then all of those things should allow a relatively healthy, well-rounded existence going forward. There will always be complications in relationships in life. So there's no guarantees that a relationship is always going to be smooth. But I think it is definitely possible for an after 9 individual to lead a happy and well-rounded life.
That was Bruce Little. Thank you for joining us.